Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the Pewtercast.
You're listening. Welcome to the Pewtercast. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by my good friend Ren Daxt. Ren.
Yo.
Another week in the books. Another week down. It is time for
AB's a buck. AB's a buck. Antonio Brown's a buck.
Oh my gosh. You know how we always say, it seems like week to week on this show, we're like, there's not really that much news that really happened this week.
Right.
This is not one of those weeks at all.
No, it is not.
And we will get to all of that, including Antonio freaking Brown coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Got to admit, I thought it might have been a slight possibility way back right after we signed Tom Brady, but I put that out of my mind about 30 seconds into it.
Right.
And holy cow. So we will definitely be talking about that, but that's not the only thing we're going to be talking about. We saved this show for the end of the week so that we can talk about everything that has happened over the course of the week, which honestly just gives us a much better picture of what actually has happened as opposed just to the day-by-day goings on. We'll do that for those of you who are new to the show. We'll do that by talking about the roster moves, anything that the Buccaneers have done, transactions they have made over the course of the week. We'll talk about headlines that have come out from all of our friends there in the media room and anything else that we have seen. We'll also talk about the injury report because this is also a show where we start to look at the game this particular weekend. Tampa Bay Buccaneers going out to face John Gruden's Las Vegas Raiders, which turns out there was some news coming out of the Raiders that is really going to affect this game as well. And then we'll close out with what we're looking forward to in this game and our predictive MVPs. Wow, Ren, a lot to get to.
Sure.
Lot to get to. So, as not to delay, we got a guest this week, and I'm excited for this guest. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we do that, hi to everybody who's joining us live, because we are broadcasting live through all of our channels: Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Pewtercast.live, Locker Room. Everybody's up. And so hello to everybody who's joining us live. Those of you in the chat room, hello to you guys as well. Before anybody asks, no, this is not a call-in show, but you guys keep that chat room going live, and we will certainly see what you guys have going on over there. Guest. Let's talk about our guest this week. We have made a tradition of bringing on guests to the show over the course of this year, and I'm super excited. This is the first time, though, this year, Ren, as you have said, for about the last 7 times I've said the word guest. It's not just one guest.
It is not.
No. We got 2 guests.
We do.
They are from the same podcast, though, the Bucs Observer Podcast. Let's welcome into the show Ralph and Molly, guys. Welcome to the Pewtercast, Buck in the News Show.
Hey.
Well, I was going to give this big introduction about, sort of your guys' background and everything, but Brent jumped the gun on me on there. Not that he did it wrong. I'm just saying he jumped the gun. But a little background, I'm not going to let you guys talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. If you don't know these guys, husband and wife team, big Bucs fans out in Virginia Beach, they have a podcast, and I will say that it is woefully unfollowed, especially on YouTube, because I can't see your guys' download numbers, but your YouTube videos should have more subscribers, much more views, and especially what Ralph does. If you just like to break down film, and we're not offensive coordinators, we're not defensive coordinators. Ralph every week puts out 3 different videos and just stuff that he finds interesting, and it's fun to watch. And you know what? A lot of the times, what he finds interesting, I find interesting too. So if you're looking, if you're on YouTube and you're watching other Bucs breakdowns of film, and sometimes he doesn't use the word like cross dog blitz or all that kind of stuff. He's just like, hey, look at this. Look what Villa did right here. Look what Ndamukong Suh did right here. Hey, look at Tom Brady's eyes right here. He does a great job, and hopefully this show will give you a little boost in your viewership, because you guys have been doing this for a while now, and you guys do a really good job. The chemistry is great between you.
I hope so.
Yeah. For now. I mean, I listen to you guys all the time. And you're and I will tell you, during the off season, you guys are one of my favorites to listen to.
Oh, thank you. We kind of slacked off this off season. It was a little slower than what we normally do, but.
Yeah, you would think with the COVID and being stuck in the house all the time that we'd be able to knock out videos and podcasts, but it like infected our lazy bones or something. Is it like every time I was like, oh, let's do this, something else came up. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. And honestly, if I could echo Ren, what I love about your guys' show, I say this to everybody who asks me like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a new Buccaneers podcast. Should I do it? And my answer is always yes. Yes, start your show. You want to create content, you want to do something, create content. My advice to everyone out there is whatever you're going to create content about, find out what's already being done, and instead of replicating and duplicating what other people are doing, find a new way to approach it. Find a new angle. Bring something to the conversation that's not happening. And I feel like this dynamic that you guys have, what you guys bring to the team, you guys are doing exactly that. You're bringing something in a way that no other Buccaneers podcast is bringing. And that's one thing that I really, really love about your all show. So I'm glad to get to bring you guys on the show. I'm glad to make your acquaintance. Usually we talk about all of our friends. Honestly, we've never met you before, except for just what I've heard from you out there. And I went, Ren and I were, these are guys we can trust. Let's bring them on the show and get their takes on the news.
And Ralph is one of my favorite people because he shares my loathing for one Gerald McCoy.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. We have a rule that we do not trash talk any player or coach or anything. We definitely don't call for anybody to get fired, because we believe in supporting the team and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But, man, for years I was like, we got to get rid of Gerald McCoy. We got to get rid of Gerald McCoy. And when we did, it was so good to just be able to let it out and say, this guy, he was a paper tiger. I felt, mm-hmm. he was really boosted up by the media,
Yeah.
And,
preach, Ralph, preach, Ralph, preach.
Yeah. So you done started the kindling here.
Yeah. Whoops.
And I have known this for years, where he wasn't saying it on the podcast, but we were saying it behind closed doors. So I'm glad to be able to share that with the rest of Bucs Nation.
Mostly just so you don't have to hear about it all by yourself, which I get that, Molly, from this side over here.
Exactly.
Oh, guys.
Yeah, and I think people see now that Ndamukong Suh has contributed a lot more to the Buccaneers defense than Gerald McCoy did. Gerald McCoy, unfortunately, I think his career might be done. I don't know, but if anything, he was kind of a rotational player at Carolina, and he was going to be that in Dallas probably. I don't know where he's going from here. He's a great guy, and he did have a particular right. Exactly. He had a particular skill set that was very good and unique, but when it comes to overall,
terrible leader.
Yeah, look,
terrible.
This is where I'll say about that. Whether you think Gerald McCoy was great or Ndamukong Suh is great, I think pretty much whatever your bent is on it is what you see. Like if you think Gerald McCoy was great, you look at his tape and you go, look how fantastic he was, and Ndamukong Suh is just kind of meh. If you really like Ndamukong Suh and you didn't like Gerald McCoy, I think it probably goes the other way as well. Look, Gerald McCoy remains one of my personal favorite players on the team.
I feel horrible now.
It's okay. No, it's fine. Hey, everybody's allowed their own fandom, right?
He's put up with me for years too.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I get it. But I will. You know what? Gerald McCoy's not on the team, so we don't have to talk about him right now. But let's talk about the people who are here on the team. But before we do that, actually, one thing I want to get to know from you guys: you live in Virginia Beach. You're out-of-market fans. I started this podcast because I was an out-of-market fan, and technically I still am an out-of-market fan, although I'm a lot closer now these days. How did you guys become Buccaneers fans?
I'll let Ralph start with that one, and then I'll finish it off. How about that?
All right. Yeah, I've always been a football fan, followed football since I was a youngin', back in the days of Lynn Swann and Tony Dorsett and all that good stuff. But I was never I lived here in Virginia. Hated the Redskins because back in those days that's all you got to see was the home team, right. And it was basically shoved down my throat all the time, and I didn't like them. I liked players. I liked, like I said, Lynn Swann and all those guys, and I was always a player. I never really had a team, and I was a big Hardy Nickerson fan. when he was at Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And when he went to Tampa Bay, I was like, oh, man, I got to be a Tampa Bay fan. They suck. This is horrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do it. Their uniform. It was the uniforms, really. I was like, I can't.
Not a
That creamsicle.
fan, Ralph.
Oh man, no. I have this thing with colors, that certain colors bother me. It's when they had the breast cancer thing where the people wore pink.
Yeah.
On the field. I would have to turn away from the camera. You're going to ask Mom about this. I'd have to turn away sometimes because it would kind of make me nauseous with certain color schemes. When like pink and blue, yeah, I was just really like, ugh. But for some reason, the orange is really, and then they changed the uniforms. When Hardy Nickerson came, it was next year, and I was like, I'm on board with that. And so I was supporting Hardy Nickerson, and then I just fell in love with everybody on the team. Warren Sapp, John Lynch, and Rondé Barber came along, and I even liked Dilfer, and you had the A-Train, and it was just, you couldn't help but love that football team, and I've been addicted ever since. And then she married me, and that's how she became a Buccaneers fan. I'll let her tell that story.
When Ralph and I got together back in 2009, I learned very quickly he made it clear he does not do anything on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays because those are football days. So if you want to see me, you're watching football. And I didn't really have a team. I'm from North Carolina, so I mean, kind of the Panthers at the time. But I know. I regret
Probably a
some
Gerald
of-
McCoy fan too. Probably a Gerald McCoy fan too.
I think it was 2008 when Carolina knocked the Bucs out of the playoffs. Is that what it was? Ralph and I were just friends, and I was sitting at a bar, and the game was on, and the Buccaneers lost, and I was just texting him, talking shit the whole time, and I had no idea how heartbroken he was, or else I wouldn't. I get it now, but at the time I didn't.
Yeah, that was the game where I realized Gruden was gone. That was that game where you went, Gruden's not going to be our head coach after this season. So I was devastated. And she's texting me this whole time, just, Buccaneers suck, Panthers whooped your butt, and all this good stuff. And I was almost in tears, and I'm like, I do not like you.
Yeah,
And then we got married.
It sounds like you guys got a really great one of those. That's the big meme on Twitter right now, the how it started and how it is now. You guys would have a lot of fun with that. So. Well, guys, here we are now. It's not 2008. It's not 1998 anymore. It is now 2020. We are in week 7 of this season, and we're almost halfway through the season.
I know. I was thinking about that today.
Right? That is
it's almost half over.
Almost. And knock on wood, we're going to get the rest of this season. But we got lots to talk about. So we'll go all the way up to the very top of the list. Lots of stuff that's happened over the course of this week. And we'll start with roster moves. Last week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers elevated Jeremiah Ledbetter from the practice squad to the game against Green Bay. And, of course, he reverted back to the practice squad this particular week. So no change for him there. However, releasing from the practice squad this week, they let go Dakota Dixon.
I know.
Man.
Yeah, I know. It's there's a name that a lot of Bucs fans should recognize. And they signed Mazzy Wilkins, so he is back with the team, which is great.
Yeah, he's yo-yoing with that stuff.
Right. And we got defensive tackle Kobe Smith. Now, I know nothing about Kobe Smith. Obviously, Dakota and Mazzy are two people that we're very well aware of. So they're there. Ren, does this Kobe Smith, does he have any real shot? Do you know anything about him? As far as making the team?
I didn't even look up his name, to be honest.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I didn't see that transaction.
Yeah,
I knew Dakota. I knew Mazzy. But the good thing about Dakota Dixon, who was the undrafted free agent out of Wisconsin, came on practice 2 years ago in training camp, and people were talking about him taking the starting job. Hurt his hip or hamstring or something. It was a soft tissue injury. The Bucs immediately put him on IR so they could basically redshirt him. And it was nip and tuck for that fourth safety position this year between him and Adams. But he's been on the practice squad since. But the good news is he's coming in to quote unquote try out for the team to get back onto the practice squad. but he's gonna have to beat out guys that positions that the Bucs feel they're a little light on, like cornerback, like interior defensive line, things like that. But so it's not over for Dakota Dixon as a Buccaneer yet. But to answer your question, I have no idea who that guy is.
Real quick, do you guys remember back when we did, or back when the 53-man roster came out, that first initial 53-man roster, they cut AQ Shipley, which was, that veteran free agent signing, just so that they could hang on to an extra wide receiver named John Hurst. And then they immediately put him onto the injured list, and then they filled that spot with AQ Shipley. Well, they activated him this week and immediately waived him. So he's gone. But
Man,
that's not all done with him, because the very next day or 2 days later, they signed him right back. So now he's back with us.
I don't know.
Actually,
Some of these transactions I just don't understand. It's so much yo-yo, and Mazzy. I would hate to have to do that. With these guys constantly. You're on the practice squad, and then we have to release you, and then we're waiving you, and then we're signing you back on the practice squad, and it's just those guys have got
waivers and all that.
Yeah, it's got to be tough for those guys. Not knowing what they're going to be doing, what team they're going to be on.
Yeah, when you're that bottom 10, maybe 15 spot, maybe not even 15. It really that bottom 10 spots on the roster. Just those, I call them roster churners. You're always
that's what Bruce,
moving them around.
That's what Bruce Arians said when he first got here. He was like, the bottom 10 guys are always going to be churning. So.
I think Dirk Cutter said the same thing when he got promoted, and I'm sure. I know we weren't podcasting back then, so I didn't follow it as closely back then. But I'm sure Levy probably said it, and Greg and Raheem and John. I'm sure that feels like something that everybody's like. Look, these bottom guys are always going. So John Hurst is actually back. He's back with the practice squad. I think I misspoke. They didn't activate him to the practice squad. They activated him to the regular. They activated him and released him. So he had to clear waivers, and they brought him right back for the practice squad. And to make room for him on the practice squad, a guy they brought in last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, he's a wide receiver, Isaac Whitney. They let him go. Now, that might make sense because John Hurst himself is a wide receiver, but also, we'll talk about this in a few minutes, not right now. The Buccaneers also signed another wide receiver to the roster. I've heard his name once or twice.
Some no-name guy,
Yeah, apparently he's all right, but we'll see. I think he returns punts or something like that.
I didn't hear any of that news.
No. Well, we'll get to that because it actually hasn't officially happened yet. So we'll cover that in the next segment. But something that did officially happen is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded basically they swapped a 6th-round pick.
Here we go.
Next
Good
year.
Good stuff.
No, I'm sorry. In 2 years for a 3rd or a 7th-round pick in 3 years, and we picked up from the New York Jets nose tackle Steve McClendon.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I'm not real familiar with the guy. I did watch his press conference, and he seems pretty excited to be here. Definitely an old dude. What is he, 30? He's the oldest defensive tackle. Wow.
34, I think, is what I saw his age was.
I think between him and Domicong Sue, they're going to be out there with wheelchairs. Yeah, we got the geriatric unit for the defense.
Look, but I tell you, man, JPP broke his freaking neck, lost a finger, and came back both times.
He is incredible. He's got to be a bionic man by now. He's just, and he was after watching the game film last week from the Packers game, he was the best defender. Which surprised me because I didn't really pay much attention to him during the game, but watching him on all 22, he was everywhere. He was all up in Aaron Rodgers' face. So, yeah, I love JPP, and he's a real strong leader. That guy does McClendon is too.
Oh yeah,
JPP. No, JPP
is definitely
Yes,
but that's one of the things that they keep talking about. McClendon is a guy who's played for Bowles. I think I saw that he's played for BA as well, somewhere out there as well. But he played for Bowles. Bowles actually said he stood up on a table for this guy. I'm sure that's a figure of speech because nothing about Todd Bowles tells me he gets animated enough to literally get up on a table. That's just a very weird phrase to me. But he says he stood on a table for this guy to bring him in. Like, this is a guy that he knows and he likes and really wants him around, and says he's immediately in this locker room. So
nice.
I don't know how much we're actually going to see of this guy. I know we bring him in for depth. We lost Vita Vea, obviously.
Oh, he's playing Sunday.
He'll play Sunday. Well, is he going to clear COVID protocol?
He already has.
Okay, good.
He already has. He cleared Wednesday. That's why he left. That's why he drove from Miami to Tampa Sunday, right after the game.
Correction on that. Was driven. by a car that
true.
the Buccaneers sent to pick him up. Now, why they
Sweet.
sent a car to Miami rather than a fly, I'm not sure. But, I don't know. But, they sent a car to pick him up and just let him drive all night to get there. So he will play. But my real question that I don't know with Steve McClendon is where is he going to be, like, in the rotation? Like, is he right behind Nacho? Like, Nacho's our number one guy right now. Is he right behind Nacho?
I would think so. They'll rotate him in and out. Maybe. Did you say Ledbetter? He's still on the team.
Practice squad. He's
back
on the practice squad.
Okay.
They'll probably. I would imagine they'll elevate him again this year, or this week, to bring him in. But yeah, I would think so. And he played a couple snaps last week too. So
yeah. And who's the draft guy we got? Khalil Davis. Was that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see him out on the field at all. Did you guys?
He ended up being inactive because he was injured most of the week, and they ended up inactive. Molly, would you like to join us anytime soon? Or
Sorry. Yeah,
It's all right.
I would. We watched the press conference earlier, and it was crazy to me that he knew that he was getting traded and then still played anyway. He said he wanted to play with those guys because he knew we probably would never get to play with them again. So I like that. I like that kind of rapport that he's got with his teammates, and I think that brings a lot to a locker room.
I'm with you. He played for BA. That's how long he's been playing. Like, he actually played for BA when BA was in Pittsburgh, and then BA's gone from Pittsburgh to the Colts to the Cardinals to announcing to the Bucs, and so that's how long he's been around. Of course, he was with Todd Bowles, and like you said, Todd Bowles really liked him. He's a big run stuffer guy. He only grows about 280, so you're like, how does this guy take on double teams and hold down the middle? But he's been doing it for 11 years. High motor, high character guy. But something I brought up on Twitter, and what Molly was saying was like, and yes, as a teammate, you're like, yeah, he played with his guys one last time. But as a Bucs fan, I'm like, well, what happens if he blew his ACL?
Oh, that's true.
It's like what's going on here? So, but apparently, I put this big Twitter rant, and it was like, if he gets hurt, then the Bucs have to find somebody else. And now, if you follow the COVID protocols and not knowing when you're going to be able to get a guy, and it was such a great deal for the Bucs, as Brent said, like, we get him and give up a 6th, but then we get a 7th back. So we got him for like 40 picks, like the bottom 40. So basically, they gave him to us. He's a free agent next year, so it's like a 1-year rental, or possibly not. But if he got hurt going down the line trying to find somebody that Todd Bowles wants, has familiar with both, knows the defense, and then maybe has to learn the defense, like, we're looking 2-3 weeks to fill in that defensive tackle spot, which we got by with on the Green Bay game by moving, like, Anthony Miller inside. Anthony Miller was playing defensive tackle in the Green Bay game. Obviously, it's something they don't want to continue, or they wouldn't have traded for this guy. But I'm looking forward to it. And to answer your question, Brent, I think he jumps right into the head of the line, right behind Nacho. And maybe by the end of the year, he might take Nacho's place. Like,
that was going to be my next
that
question.
Good. He's that.
That was going to be
he's
my
that
next
good.
question. Yeah.
And not that Nacho's bad. It's just that he's a vet that has more experience and has intangibles and understands what defensive linemen are trying to do to him. And like I said, he already knows Todd Bowles' scheme, so he'll be able to sort of, like a duck to water. So I'm excited they got him. And again, for getting him for nothing, it's an A+ Tier 1 move by Jason Light and the staff.
I like it. Well, guys, just to wrap up the roster moves that we have here for...
I'm going to try to remember that ice thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. More punctiliary reasons, I guess. The protected list came out this week. They're allowed to save 4 people on this protected list.
Right.
This week they only put...
Ooh, Brent froze. Everyone freeze or just Brent?
He's really emphatic about that, too.
He is very emphatic about
Let's
that.
get that across.
So they only put 2 on the protected list, and I'm going to guess who they are. 1, I'm assuming the kicker, Joseph, and 2 would be cornerback somebody or other. Okay, or
Uh-oh. Sorry.
You're back.
so we're all doing the 2 thing for you.
That's all right.
Who are the 2 guys that they protected?
Thank you. The 2 guys that they protected were kicker Greg Joseph, that they've been protecting all year long, and Jeremiah Ledbetter, The guy that they elevated to go up and down, which again, I say they're probably going to elevate him again this week, I would imagine.
And that goes back to, sorry, please, Molly.
What would the point be of protecting him if they're just going to elevate him?
So that nobody between Tuesday and Saturday could come and sign him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Generally, if they're protecting somebody, it's for the idea that they're either going to play them or they don't
They're
want
an
anybody,
insur-
like the kicker. Like nobody's
Yeah.
going to cut. You know, Josh Rosen, they did it the first week, but then Josh made it really clear, I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to protect me. He's going to say no to everybody else. So they stopped that after the first week. But otherwise.
Yeah, and it goes along that lines I was just saying. If, Suck Up pulls a hammy, like a new kicker can't even start trying out until like Wednesday. And then now he's not till the team. Now he's not with the team till Thursday. So he gets one practice and a walkthrough, and now he's got to go kick. So that's why they have Carl Joseph, and they keep protecting him in case something happens to Suck Up. It's just, maybe not as good, but interchangeable parts. And again, with Ledbetter, you just don't know how that defensive tackle's position is going to work out. And I think if McClendon works out and everything's fine and it's all good to go, Ledbetter will probably come off that protected list next week.
There you go. All right, well, let's move on to headlines. There were several things that happened this week. We already talked about the McClendon trade. That was, I think, the first one that hit literally. Ren, it hit as we were going live with the Pewtercast Live last week. That's how fresh that one was. As a part of that deal, I don't know what their contract is with McClendon and how they're going to pay him, but I do know that the Buccaneers did restructure Ali Marpet's contract and freed up about $4 million. Ren, can you let us in on the details of that, of how much this $4 million they're taking up?
Almost none. Well, a third of it or fourth of it. McClendon signed a $3 million deal with the Jets, and the Jets are paying him $2 million, and the Bucs are paying him like $995,000.
Okay.
So for base, he's $1 million for what do we got? 10 games. 10 games left. So
good, because we're going to need
Minimum.
3 of that here in just a few minutes.
We are.
So anyway, but that was from Ali Marpet, and I mean, don't we love Ali Marpet?
How do you guys feel about that when guys get restructured? Everyone heaps accolades on them. Are you guys like, what a great teammate?
Yes, I do. That's how I
figured.
feel.
Ralph?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I'm like, but they get more money up front, right? When they do that,
exactly.
usually. Yeah,
that's why Brett and I are like. That's why Brett and I are like. Yeah, it's like we owe you $10 million instead of giving you 2 now. We'll give you 7. You okay with that? Yes, I'm okay with that.
Right.
Yeah,
Can we prepay your contract for you now and just not pay it to you later? Like,
I'll always take money now as opposed to later.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Ren. I mean, it sounds good and it does make them seem like team players, but when you look into it, it seems like they're getting a better deal. So
yeah,
not much of a sacrifice on their part.
Plus, it kind of secures their future because that money has to go on the back end and turns into dead cap money. So if you have a huge amount of dead cap, a team's less likely to get rid of you because you're kind of paying them their whole salary anyway. Yeah. So it's a win-win for the player, but again, it is nice, I guess, to restructure. It helps. Yeah. So that's where you get the pat on the back, but he's not running into burning buildings and pulling out kittens.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at the guys that they have been restructuring. So far, it's mostly been Mike Evans. What have they done like 3 times now?
It's guys who are going to be around so that dead cap money will never be a problem. Like you're sorry, I didn't cut you off, Brent, but
you're right. You're 100% right.
It's Mike Evans. He's not going anywhere. It's Ali Marpet. He's not going anywhere.
When they re-sign Chris Godwin, he's not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It'll be those guys. So, but anyway, yeah. So that $3 million. Let's put a pin in that. We'll come back to that here because I think the other big news that really happened kind of a little earlier in the week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Raiders gets moved from an 8:00 Sunday night primetime game to 4:00, right there in the middle of the afternoon. Count with everybody else. Buccaneers lose a primetime game. Now, the reasons that the NFL has come out and told us is, well, it's about money. Is bottom line, right? Like they can't risk moving a Sunday night game to another day because of COVID stuff. they have to have that Sunday night slot filled. So they flip-flopped us because the 4 o'clock time slot is even better. What it's not about is player safety options, what Spike Woody and Rappaport said.
Yes.
But regardless, unless they move it to like a doubleheader Monday night, if they move it to Tuesday, I don't know if that counts as primetime. Bottom line, Buccaneers lose a primetime game, which I know kind of makes a lot of people miffed and upset. And I feel kind of miffed and upset. And my question is, does it even really matter? I'm sad to lose a primetime game, but do I really care?
Well, we have the right people on because, I'm sure there's some way that they always watch every game. But, if it's primetime, you don't have to leave the house. So what do you like, is it a big deal for you to lose those primetime games?
Yes, I'm mad. I'm upset about this. I'm boycotting Sunday Night Football, actually, because I'm so upset about this. I'm not, probably. I feel gypped. But are we greedy because we do have, the most primetime games among the most in the league? I mean, how many did we have? 5, 6? We had the maximum that you could have, and we're just getting rid of one, so... Are we being greedy to be mad about it? I don't know. I'm still upset though, and especially I don't want to watch the Seahawks.
Right.
I just don't.
Yeah. See, one of the things that bothers me about it is, I say one of the reasons why we did this podcast is because we want to expand the fan base. I feel like having a larger fan base and an educated fan base is intimidating for other teams.
Right.
I would love to have, when the team walks into Raymond James Stadium, all the fans are in unison. It's all Buccaneer fans. And, we are the 12th man. And I think that having us on primetime games gives us more exposure. We get more fans. And so, this COVID stuff this year has really screwed us because, we were going to have sold out stadiums all year long. The first time since 2005, I think. And, we had all these primetime games. We were set up to really expand our fan base. And now, we got 10 people in the stands now. Half of them are Green Bay Packer fans last week. And we're losing our primetime games. I'm like, no. No, I want to see us on primetime so that we can get a larger fan base.
Does it bother anybody here that the Buccaneers historically don't do well on primetime games?
Well, I was just going to say that I kind of want a do-over because the last time we were on primetime, we lost to the freaking Bears. So can we please, I don't want the rest of the NFL to have that impression of the Buccaneers. I want a chance to kind of rectify that.
But are we going to do that against the Raiders?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
get to it.
We got that segment coming up.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
You really must have wanted that Packers game to be on primetime because if the nation saw what we just saw on Sunday against the 5-0 Packers.
Oof. Yeah.
Packer Nation wanted that on primetime until it happened.
Right?
Until it happened.
Right. Let's see here. Okay, well, coming in, with that. So Buccaneers lose a primetime game. We might get it back. It's possible. Because the game still could be booted, so we'll see what happens. All right, turning our attention a little bit to this game this week, and normally we would save this for the injury report, but it's been such a big headline we have to cover it in this particular section. The Las Vegas Raiders placed all 5 of their starting offensive linemen on the COVID list, as well as one of their backup cornerbacks. That doesn't mean that they won't play. It just makes it really, really unlikely that they're going to play. We could be facing a Raiders team where their entire offensive line is all backups and practice squad people because you only keep 9 on a roster. They don't even have an extra 5th lineman on the team until they pull it up from the practice squad.
Yeah, well deserved. If that happens, I don't know if the NFL is going to let that happen just because they like their stars and they don't want to get Derek Carr killed.
Right.
Or David Carr. Which one is it?
It's Derek.
Derek Carr killed. But it's starting to leak out now that the Raiders don't take this as seriously as the other teams. There's security camera footage of them walking around without masks. They don't have their location things that beep, when they're 6 feet within somebody they're not supposed to be. And, we already know they got fined, I think a total of like something like $500,000. The NFL fined the organization and then fined John Gruden for not wearing their mask in like week 2 of the NFL season. So they're not taking it as seriously. And I think the NFL is just going to be like, okay, well, you're playing anyway. And this is what happens to you because you don't do what we say.
And they made it clear with their new rules that that's kind of the way that they were going after they implemented the stricter protocols after the Titans fiasco. So it wouldn't surprise me if the NFL did that.
Well, I wouldn't be too mad, to be honest. If they don't play their starting offensive line, we're just going to destroy them. That's really the only thing they have going for them is the starting offensive line that might be able to slow us down a bit. But yeah, if they don't have those guys in there, Trent Brown's not playing, right? I mean, he's
the guy. He's the guy who tested positive. Now,
right?
The Raiders have not had any more positive tests since then. So those other guys are strictly precautionary, putting them on the list. They're on like sort of the contact tracing list at this point, which is why I say it just because they go on the COVID list does not mean that they won't play. It just makes it more unlikely. So I would predict we're probably going to see most of their starting offensive line, unless the NFL just says no, or they get a positive COVID test between here and then, because they'll test those guys at least 2 more times between now and the game. And
they even if they don't. Or they do play. I mean, they haven't practiced all week, and then they're coming off a bye, too, so they didn't practice the week before then. So, I mean, there's a chance they could be a little rusty if we do see them.
Yeah, and, speaking of the buys, like, we kind of got, and, this is a little bit off topic, but we kind of got screwed here. Like, we played the Packers coming off a bye. Now we play the Raiders coming off a bye. Oh, and by the way, next week's team, the Giants, they're coming off a mini bye. Like, what the hell's going on? Now, I looked.
It is the Giants.
Exactly. But yeah.
Did you watch that game last night? Not to throw it. Oh my gosh, the quarterback running, he ran for like 50 yards and then collapsed on the 5-yard line. Yeah, he was just exhausted. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I did watch that. I put myself through that torture. I watched the whole thing.
So it was entertaining. It was like the battle of the have-nots. It was like every play I was like, we're looking for another butt fumble or something. It was awesome. I enjoyed the game just for that.
I'm an old enough Bucs fans where I remember the Tampa Bay Green Bay games being referred to as the Bay of Pigs.
Bay of Pigs.
Like just terrible, awful football. But yes, it is the Giants, but still they get a mini bye and get an extra few days to come up against us. So, but I did look. The Chiefs and the Saints are not coming off bye weeks or Thursday night games. So at least sort of our 2 hardest scheduled games on paper will be fair or more fair or fairest of them all.
I know, but that week 14 game that we play, man, we're coming off that bye and woo.
Bam. Who do we got? Like
I don't know. Is
Falcons?
That the Vikings? I think it might be the Falcons. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those. We'll come off a bye all fresh for like the last 3 weeks of the season, which I don't mind, to be honest with you. All right. So
are we going to talk about it now? Can we talk about it?
Can we do it?
Can we talk about it now?
I know Molly's dying to talk about
I am too. I'm starting to get frustrated.
She texted me immediately.
We have Antonio Bryant, and Brent's like, well, they changed the cups at the stadium. Does that upset anybody, Ralph? I'm like, ah!
In the headline that shouldn't have been no, we'll save that one for later. All right, fine. Buccaneers sign AB. It's happening, y'all.
Oh God, finally. Oh my God. Is that it? Go.
Yeah, that's the news. That's
it. What's the next topic?
Sign AB. What else do you want me to say? Have you guys ever heard of this guy, Antonio Bryant? His number's like 85, I think, maybe 86. I don't know, somewhere around there in the 80s, I think. He's been around for a little bit. He's kind of an old guy to be signing. What do you guys think?
His last name's Brown, and he's 84. But listen, what do you like?
Did I say
honestly,
Bryant?
Yeah, you did. But all right.
Oh, I thought you were being funny.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. I was being funny.
So what do we think about it? I mean, are we are we upset a little bit because of the type of character he is off the field, or are we just like, hey, we're all in, and BA and Brady can handle this guy, and he's one of the best receivers in the league, and I'm glad we got him?
Ralph and I, we have this rule: we don't talk bad about people on the team. But I just
he's not on the team officially.
He's not on yet.
It reminds me of the old adage: no matter how pretty she is, someone somewhere is sick of her shit. That's just how I feel about him.
It's one of my favorites.
Like he is one pill away from just going insane. One missed pill and he's just gonna go crazy. And I just, not to disparage people with mental illness, but he is too much. He's too much. He's too much. I trust BA and Jason Light to hopefully. Jake Arian said that he's on a short leash, so I trust that that's true. But
he also said, do you think BA would be, or AB would be coming if his dad didn't approve?
Right.
So we know BA's at least signed off on it, which of course he has. I didn't need Jake Arians to tell me that, but just for the record, because he said it.
Yeah. Ralph, what do you think? I think I made my feelings clear.
Oh, yeah, Molly was just totally livid. She's been talking about it all offseason, actually. She was like, oh, my gosh, if we sign Antonio Bryant, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, nah, we ain't going to sign him. We got enough wide receivers, and here we are.
Molly has found her Gerald McCoy.
I'm going to have to hear this now for a year at least. Oh, my gosh. I think that, he'll be okay, but, he is. You use that phrase. You said one pill away from throwing a bag of dildos at his wife, his ex. Is that what it was? On the video. Yeah. Oh, that cracked me up when you said that. But I wish you would have said it here because it was really funny. That's why I had to repeat it. I want to grab my wife. I want to take you two out to a bar and just go hang out for a night. Because you two are going to be a blast. This would be great. Oh, we're much more fun when we get drunk too. Which, is every other day, just about. The only thing I have confidence in is that BA doesn't put up with this crap. But when we first hired BA, we went back and looked through all of his coaching tenure and everything, and he just does not have problems with guys in the locker room. If he does, he gets rid of them. Kind of like a Belichick thing. It's like he doesn't play around with that. He gives them, he loves them and fights with them and all that. But if there are problems for the team, they're gone. And I have full confidence that he'll do that here. I really think this is a Tom Brady thing. Tom Brady wanted AB here, so, BA's like, okay, whatever you want, buddy. And he'll make the team better, especially in kick returns. Our kick return game is horrible. We ain't going anywhere with that. And I think he could help in that aspect if they use him there. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. As a fan, I never want to see sort of like your tier 1 players returning kicks. Like it drove me insane last year when they put Ronald Jones back there on kickoffs, and then he hyperextended his knee in a rainy preseason game, and it's like, now can we take Ronald Jones off? And they did. So, yeah. But having AB back there, he's dynamic in the open field. Like there's no doubting his talents whatsoever. It's all the other baggage that comes with it. But I'm in lockstep with Ralph. Like he made it 1 week in New England with Tom Brady and he was gone. Caught a touchdown pass, played 1 game and he was gone. But whatever he did, which never came out, obviously isn't enough for Tom Brady to not want him. He didn't cross a line with Tom Brady because Tom Brady stumped for him during the offseason. And now that, his suspension is almost over, Tom Brady stumped for him again. And like Ralph said, what Tom Brady wants, Tom Brady gets. And, we thought about, we saw that with Gronk. We saw that with Shady. We saw that with Fournette. These guys that are coming and doing ring chasing, and Brent, we've been saying it for 2 years, like, who are you going to cover? But now really, they might have 3 top 10 wide receivers on the field.
They could go in with a 4 wide out set.
Just imagine if O.J. Howard was still playing,
I don't care right now with Howard.
But just imagine. I know you don't, but just
No,
imagine.
If Howard was good, fine.
Oh, wow.
If,
Oh,
if
no.
Howard had proved something to me over the last 3 years that he's been here.
Wow.
Molly,
With you. We're kindred spirits, Brent.
I'm telling you. It just,
Wow.
Listen. He's. I mean, OJ Howard is the.
Brent's
Donovan
found
Smith
his
of
Gerald
tight ends.
McCoy.
He's got all the tools. He's got all the potential in the world, but he's not been able to put it on the field. He just hasn't. You can't tell me OJ Howard has put it on the field.
I thought he was doing it this year.
When?
In the 3 games.
In the 3 games he played. He had like 2 touchdowns in his I don't think he had any drops, or maybe he might have had 1. And his yards per catch was like almost 20, maybe even over 20. I thought he was having a great year.
My issue-
game sample size. So go ahead, Ralph.
my issue with OJ was his blocking. I just didn't like it. He was the best blocker. Well, no, he wasn't the best tight end blocker we had. Brate was the best, and Brate's not that good. Gronkowski though is great.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why our run game has been so good. But OJ, he wasn't a horrible blocker, but he just wouldn't do a whole lot. He just kind of get in the way of the person, and if they put forth any effort, then they'd get by him. And to me, tight ends. I'm old school where tight ends, that's pretty much used to be, that's all they did was block,
Mm-hmm.
And so, now we've got into these catching tight ends, and I'm like, that's fine and dandy, but we got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Scotty Miller, it's like,
And AB.
You're right, yeah, at AB.
Justin Watson, Tyler Johnson, Cyril Doink Grayson. Yeah.
Doink. That thing bounced right off his face.
The wind caught it, guys. The wind caught it.
Oh,
anyway, and here's the thing. Guys, look, I don't mean to disparage O.J. Howard. Actually, I do. I just don't get the hype that everybody buys, that everybody blows up about him until I see it. And Ren, I get what you're saying. I need more than a 3 or 4 game sample size on that, though. To be like, I need to see that over the course.
He had one bad year where last year where it seems people are saying in whispers that he hated Jameis Winston. Like, hated him as a person for the way he acted on the field and kept getting in trouble and screwing the team. Now, that shouldn't affect your play on the field, but maybe it did. And the problem with O.J. Howard hasn't been producing. Like, his first 2 years, his first 2 years, I know he gets injured every year, never finishes the season, I get it. But when he's on the field, he produces. He does, at a high rate. So, I mean, I get your point. I do. I get your point. Like, I'm not here stumping for O.J. Howard. I was just saying, imagine running, like, Howard with those, like, really, like, back to my point, who do you cover? Like, do you, okay,
that
let's
point's
look.
not lost here. Who do you cover?
Who do you
That is
cover?
still valid even without O.J.
Tell me what team, besides the Buccaneers, have 3 guys that can even come close to matching up with these 3?
Right.
Like, anybody. Like, whose slot corner is going to cover Chris Godwin or Mike Evans or Antonio Brown? Okay, Lattimore, you and Mike go and just walk off the field and start throwing dirt in each other's faces and get into a little piss fight. Now you got 2 corners left, and you have to cover Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown. Like, and don't worry. Oh, yeah, and Gronk. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that guy. It's exciting. We'll see how it works. I'm not expecting huge numbers from him because Brady's going to go to who's open. And, maybe he's going to be open a lot. But
and don't forget, you've still got Ronald Jones running out of the backfield. He's catching a lot better in the backfield if they do happen to cover everybody else.
Fournette's back this week.
Fournette's back this week, exactly. Shady McCoy's still there. I'm not really sure why right now, but he's still there.
In case Fournette gets hurt.
Honestly, I hope that's why he's there now.
Yeah.
Instead of actually being an active part of the game plan, like, just, he's there in case of
Just throw him the ball. Just throw him the ball.
Yeah.
That's it. You're not allowed to touch the ball while you're in the backfield. Tom Brady should never hand the ball to you, ever.
Exactly. I'll say this about AB. I feel right now a little bit like I did when I first heard the Bucs signed Ndamukong Suh. Because all I knew about Ndamukong Suh was he's the nastiest player who's ever played the game.
Right.
He's the dirtiest player who's
Cheater.
ever played the game. Cheater. He steps on people's ankles. Just bad dude. I also remember right after we signed Ndamukong Suh, I was talking about that, and somebody's like, yeah, but go back and look. He hasn't been penalized for stuff like that in like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, that might have been true back then, but that's not who he is now. And I think that that's held true with Ndamukong Suh is he actually is a pretty stand-up guy, at least now.
Yeah.
And he has matured a lot. Now, I don't know what's going on with AB because all of his stuff is recent and is new. But if doing this thing, this podcasting thing, covering this team as closely as long as I have, I think one thing I've learned is with any of these kind of signings, draft picks, free agent signings, trades, things like that, a wait and see approach as to how the team is actually going to handle them usually works out best, to not get overworked up one way or the other. Because AB could be coming in here, frankly, to replace Jaden Mickens, the punt returner. And then they're going to slot, kind of like a Leonard Fournette. Like, you brought in a Leonard Fournette. Oh, my God. Leonard Fournette's like the number 3 back on the team, right? Or number 2. Like, we're not looking at him very much right now. Honestly, that could be what they're looking at with AB, who, by the way, is coming off of a year and change out of football. And I'm sure he's in top-notch shape. I'm sure he is. But he's got to get used to the team. He's got all this other baggage going on with him. And the one thing that I do know is, BA likes his second chances. And as John Ledyard pointed out on his little show before we did this isn't his second chance. This is his
little
sixth.
show.
Right.
This is his 6th chance. But it's his second one with BA, I guess. Like maybe a final chance for BA to see. And as Jake said, he's going to be on a short leash. And we'll see what happens. Now, I don't know how much of that extra $3 million he's now eating up.
Yeah, we'll find out shortly.
Yeah.
It's a 1-year deal, of course, laden with incentives like don't kill anyone, $500,000. Don't
like
take
a low bar, but you never know.
Don't speed.
Yeah, don't poop on the kitchen table in a live stream on Instagram. Like,
don't throw a bag of dildos at your girl.
Yeah, like $40,000 for that. Like, he's got all that stuff. But I'll tell you what, Brent. I remember you being very leery about Ndamukong Suh, and I was kind of there too. I wasn't as strong as you. I took the definitely wait and see. But if you take the person and take the player and the whole person as a player, Ndamukong Suh is my favorite Buck. Like, he's he's very thoughtful. He's very smart. He's very good at what he does. He's very disciplined, and
Ndamukong Suh is like a freaking engineer.
Yeah.
Like
architect. He has a
guy can build bridges and stuff. Like,
he has an architect company, right?
Yeah,
architect company.
Yeah.
He's huge into architecture and all that good stuff.
And
kind of like Drew Lock. Drew Luck, right?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck.
What did I say? Drew Luck.
Yeah.
You said Drew Lock at one point. All right, so AB coming
and
to Tampa Bay
I'm not done.
Buccaneers.
I'm not done heaping my accolades on Suh.
Oh my goodness!
Plus, he's a foodie. He knows his wine.
Oh my God!
Like, these are all things that are cultured. These are food and wine are very important to me. Like, I don't drink wine ever, pretty much, but I had to learn a lot about it for work. So, like, I appreciate it, and I understand wine, and I see why people, I know why people like it and drink it and follow it, kind of like we follow Buccaneers football. Like, it's a whole different world out there, and he does it, man. And I just really like him. I think he's an A+ human, and I think he's a good leader. So he's like Gerald McCoy, but good.
Wow, bringing that one back up.
Yeah, I did.
So we've all got our people. It's Gerald McCoy, OJ, and OJ.
There you go.
Right?
Wait,
Or is it
AB?
AB?
We'll find out.
Well, Molly's
list.
AB, so
Yeah.
she's
Got a list.
she's got a list.
Got a list which she will only talk about with Ralph.
All right, guys. Well, to wrap up this segment then, just because I have to, because I find it so absurd. And the headline that shouldn't have been a headline. I feel like I need a sound effect to intro that.
You do.
We've had one of these every single week this year. This one is Brady clears up why he didn't shake Nick Foles' hand at the Chicago game. Mm-hmm. Does anybody freaking care?
Dude, man, I've lost sleep over that. Yeah, I mean, how does Foles feel? Goodness,
Just-
this is.
You know who needs to get on this question is Jenna Lane.
Oh my God, I know.
Good one. Even though I pounded Jenna Lane during the
Rinse
during
Whoa,
training camp.
what?
I like her.
No, sorry. On Twitter.
I was like, hold on, we got stories here.
For continually asking all those, Tom Brady questions. Tom Brady, like, here's a tight end coach. Hey, tight end coach, is it easier to coach tight ends with Tom Brady on the team? Huh? Is it, the defensive back coach, is it easier to coach the defensive back with Tom Brady on the team? Huh? So we got like 3 weeks of that, but I came to understand that she was getting her marching orders from the mothership. So,
but there was also Molly loved pointing that out too. She was just like, she is so in love with Tom Brady. But there was one time she was doing a Zoom conference, and she was with Tom Brady. Man, she was decked out, had your hair done and all that. And then the next day she was doing a Zoom conference. I think it was Todd Bowles or something. She didn't have no makeup on. She was like in a house coat and everything. Molly was like, see, that's what women do right there.
Maybe
But to be fair, she might have been going on TV.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, you can't prove it.
To be fair.
I think, has anyone checked on Nick? Of course, that's a great way to put it. But, if I'm Tom Brady and if I look like Tom Brady, I don't want to get anywhere near Nick Foles and have his ugliness wear off on me. Like, that's
It is. Wow.
Wow, this one is just, we're talking about dildos and ugly Nick Foles and what are we doing here? We lost our PG-13 rating for this one.
That's what happens when you get a woman on the podcast. It's like, man, they just, y'all bring up all the filth, man. Dirty minds.
Yeah, you should have heard. No, I can't go there. Anyway, for the record, Tom Brady's response was, "Oops, I forgot. Just didn't think about it."
I think he was just so mad about losing. I just think it didn't cross his mind. Yeah.
No, I think it crossed his mind. I think he was like, F that guy. He's like, I'm not going over there. And now
you beat me in the Super Bowl, and then you beat me on Thursday Night Football. Screw you, buddy.
Exactly. And you have, I'm surprised he didn't fall back on the COVID excuse, but he couldn't because other games he had gone and said hello, and then he went and said hello to Aaron Rodgers.
But to be fair, like the Breeze and the Aaron Rodgers and those guys, and even like Hubert, right? Doesn't he have like a relationship with those guys?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, and that's my friend. I'm going to go say hi.
Yeah, he said that
Nick
in
Foles. He just doesn't even know. Like,
when
nothing
he
against him. I just don't know him. I didn't think about going to say hi to him because I didn't know.
Yeah,
him.
when he was answering the question, he said, I've got a personal relationship with guys, and I'll go out there and make sure that I, shake their hands or whatever after the game. And he mentioned Drew Brees as one. So basically, he was like, "Yeah, I don't even know Nick Foles. Who's that guy?"
Yeah, right.
That was his response. It's Nick Foles. Who cares?
Who is this Nick Foles you speak of?
Exactly.
And in his defense, how many quarterbacks has he encountered in 20 years in the league?
That he went across the field and shook their hand after every single game.
Exactly. I mean, he's seen like so many quarterbacks. He's probably like, I don't have time for this. I have enough of everyone.
All right. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up all of our headlines. Let's start talking about the injury report as we take a closer look at this Raiders game, which is now moved to Sunday at 4:00. We'll start over on their side. They've got a little bit of a shorter injury report list, but they've got I've got a little guest here, guys. Everyone say hi.
Oh, hello.
To someone who is not in bed, who should be. Say hi.
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 Hey.
All right, she's on. All right, go over there and sit down. Go sit down and hang out.
Keep me posted on the Rays game.
I know. Let's see here. Injury report. Talking about the Raiders injury report. The cornerback that they have that's out on the COVID list, I think I saw someone in the chat room actually say he's not just a reserve cornerback. He's one of their star safeties. And I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe. Maybe. I don't have that name in front of me because what I saw was he's just a backup. He's a backup cornerback.
Well, there was a cornerback on Monday that got put on the list. I think he's a rookie, Damon Arnett, I want to say. And then there's safety Jonathan Abram. He was their first-round pick last year. Early round. I don't know if he was first, early round. And he got put on the list at the same time that the offensive line did.
Gotcha. That's probably who I was seeing there then. So those guys are out. But also on the injury report, out for them is Brian Edwards and Keeson Nixon, a wide receiver and a cornerback. They are going to be out for the game. Again, I always say, and I preface this, I'm a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't follow other teams. Like, if you're not like a nationally known player, I don't know who the fuck you are. I just don't. Like, so I don't know anything about those two guys.
That's why
if they're
I'm
big or
here.
not. But Ren is here, and he knows who the fuck they are. So, Ren, tell us, guys.
Brian Edwards, wide receiver, rookie out of South Carolina. Liked him a lot. Big guy, physical guy. I'm glad he's out because I thought the Bucs might have a problem sort of corralling him. He has an ankle issue. And then the cornerback is, the Raiders on their depth chart, they list 3 starting corners. They don't just do the 2 and then the third guy, the next guy back's the nickel coming out. They do all 3, and he's not in the top 3. He's actually backing up like an outside corner, so that might not, be such a problem going forward. But they have a starting defensive tackle that's questionable, so that could help. And then we get to see our boy Howard Nassib, who's actually playing a backup role on the edge position for this team. He's on there, but I think he's going to play too. So as far as the Raiders injury report helping out the Bucs, Brian Edwards, but they still have some receivers, especially the guys that can go deep. Ruggs is there. Hunter Renfro, small white guy, plays the slot. Pretty familiar with that type of receiver. And then of course the offensive line is going to be the big thing. How much of these guys come back? How many can play? Are they going to let them play? So, any piece that the Raiders defense loses is really another nail in their coffin, because their defense, no matter how you measure it, no matter what stat you look at, it ain't good. They're just not good. And they're top 5 in the league in scoring, but they're also bottom 5, I think bottom 2 in the league in points given up. So they're us last year. They're winning games 38-31, and they're losing games 42-39. Like it's the wild, wild west over there in Vegas.
For the record, currently on the year, they have scored 151 points, and other teams have scored 152 points on them. They just happen to be 3-2 walking into this game. So I think that backs up your point there, Ren.
It does.
And they're 2-0 against the NFC South, so they beat New Orleans and Carolina.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Which we'll thank them for that, and we'll end that streak today or
I
Sunday.
hope so.
Hope so. No, we will. So with that, we'll move over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's only really one name on here to even be anywhere near concerned about, and that's not one to be that concerned about anyway. Andrew Adams, Ren's favorite president of the United States.
Second president of the United States, Andrew Adams.
With a hamstring injury, he is listed as questionable, which I will always remind people means
they're playing. He froze. It means they're playing. That's what it means. Yeah. The Bucs had a long list of guys on the injury report, but a lot of them are nagging injuries we talked about, or we've seen throughout, these last couple of weeks. JPP doesn't practice. Sue, he gets a day off. Brady had a day off this week. But Winfield Jr. looks like he's going full participation. We talked about, we mentioned earlier, Leonard Fournette, first time he's back in 2 weeks. He's full participation. So the Bucs are locked and loaded and ready to go. And like Brent said before he left us, Andrew Adams is probably gonna go. So of all those guys that were on the injury list or haven't been playing for a couple of weeks, who are you guys excited to see play the Raiders? AB.
I'm excited for the whole defense. It's Derek Carr this year. I don't know if it's this year in particular, but he's got a fumbling problem this year. He's had 5 fumbles, 4 lost.
Ooh, nice.
So far.
Nice stat. Thank you, Molly.
And I mean, they've only had 5 games.
I'm sorry, Molly. You combine that with a banged up, probably not even your starting offensive line, at least on some level, with the defensive line that we've had and how they're getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's got a fumbling problem that he loses all of them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
4 or 5. Yeah, and especially Sue. I think Sue. I mean, he's pretty good at that. Or Devin White, but either one of those. So.
Or JPP.
Yeah.
Or Shaq Barrett.
I mean,
we could just go down the list. Yeah.
Levante David, Will Golston having his best year in 4 years. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah, I like it. The defense. Ralph,
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What do you like? Everybody on the injury list, who are you most excited to see play?
Oh, Fournette.
Yeah.
I think Ronald Jones is doing great. I think he's learned a lot from Fournette, but I want to see Fournette get in there and do some good running. As far as matchups, have we got to that yet, or are we doing that? I'm excited to see Devin White and Waller.
You think Devin White's gonna be giving Waller? Follow him around?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be. Gruden loves his matchups. He's going to do everything he can to get Waller on Devin White because that is his weakness. It's not a bad weakness. He's not a horrible coverage guy, but if Waller's going to beat anybody, it's going to be Devin White. And I think Gruden's going to move him around, try and get him on Devin White as much as he can. He uses Waller, gosh, like crazy. I mean, he uses them in ends arounds and running game and everything. He's really their main player besides Derek Carr. So,
yeah, at least their main offensive weapon, at least when they're not running the ball. But when trying to be creative with a guy, he's their main guy. What do you think about? We know that Carlton Davis falls around their number one wide receiver. Okay, I think it's kind of safe to say that that's Ruggs. What do you think about putting Dean on Ruggs this year so he can closer match that 4.2, 4.29, 4.27 Ruggs speed? Because, a lot of people forget about Dean because he didn't come on to the scene till halfway through. I said scene with Jamal Dean. Come on through halfway through the season. But, Dean's a 4.3 guy. Do you expect or would you like to see Dean follow around Ruggs? Or are you okay with Carlton Davis following around? Or wherever he lines up, you're okay with either one?
Yeah, I'm fine with either one. I think Dean could definitely handle the speed, but they've got him right now pretty much staying solid on one side. They got Dean on the right, Davis on the left, and that's how they've been playing all year. So I wouldn't imagine they'll change it up too much. Have them assigned to a certain guy anyhow.
Right.
They haven't done that at all this year. So, what do you think, Molly?
I have no thoughts on that.
Molly, let me ask you, though. This is that part of the show where we're now actually talking about what are the matchups or the things in this game that you're really looking forward to seeing?
I want to see Rojo some more. Early in the season, I was kind of like, eh. I felt the same way about Rojo that I did about OJ. I was just kind of like, eh, I haven't seen anything. Mm-hmm. And I am really excited about how he has shown up in the last 3 games. And I just hope it continues and he grows. I do want to see Fournette more, but I'm less excited about him now than I was.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, the Raiders do have a little bit of a tackling problem. They're not the best tacklers in the world.
Right.
So that's one thing our defense is highly underrated for. We tackle. You don't see too many missed tackles on our defense.
You know what I notice about the tackling that we do, and maybe it's just because I have blinders on. For whatever reason, it's really stuck out to me this year of where a lot of people, when they tackle, they will wrap up somebody's ankles and then they do this alligator roll. I don't see our guys tackling like that very often.
Yeah.
Good.
They're literally trying to rip off these guys' legs and
much more physical.
Intentionally hurt them is what it looks like. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they are, but that's what it looks like.
But I think we're just being more aggressive this year. We started doing that. Maybe was it Mike Smith or Lovey? I can't remember. We were doing that alligator roll tackling. I just don't like it, man. It's
I think it's cheap.
Yeah. And you get too much of a chance to not get a good wrap up on the guy. I like like Levante David is a master at. He sets his feet and just puts his shoulder into you. Devin White's pretty good at it too.
Yeah.
Take these guys' helmet, decleat them. That's how I like it. And it seemed to work with the Packers game because if you noticed, halfway through the game, those guys were scared to catch that ball. Because we were hitting those guys pretty hard. We were much more aggressive, much more physical than they were, and I like that kind of play. So I hope we do that with the Raiders because they just don't seem like a real physical team. So.
Yeah, I'm with Molly. Everything she said, I'm excited to see Rojo, especially against this Raiders run defense. And I want to see some more Fournette. But not at the cost of Rojo anymore. After these last 3 weeks, it's if this is what we're gonna get on a consistent basis when Rojo gets somewhere between 18 to 25 touches, give him the ball.
Yeah.
Just, like I don't care. Like, just give him the ball. And then, Waller's going to be a big
I'm
matchup.
sorry, Ren, if I could add to that.
Yeah.
The remaining 35 plays that are in the book for the game,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who gets how many. Like, one of the things this AB signing has brought up is, again, how are you going to make
Right.
everybody happy with the number of touches that they're going to get? Look, here's the bottom line. If the team is winning and you're not happy with the amount of touches you get, go somewhere else. And most of these guys are going to sit back and tell you, I don't care about what I'm getting as long as the team is winning.
Right.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, but Mike Evans is so concerned about his 1,000-yard thing. Look, I was concerned about that a little bit too. But that pales in comparison to just win the freaking game.
Yeah.
Just win. And I guarantee
only
you Mike Evans is sitting there saying, just win the game.
Yeah, it's the only stat that matters. Yeah.
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 It's the only one we remember years down the line.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one.
Yeah, and to finish up, what I'm looking forward to is, and I was looking forward to this even before, the whole offensive line got sent out of the building, got sent to exile, Elba Island, we'll say, is the front seven against this Raiders offensive line, because they're good. And what they can do is they can run the ball. And Josh Jacobs is a punishing back. And I want to see Levante David and Devin White running downhill and see if they can stop the Raiders, keep this streak going of only having 100-yard rusher in the since the beginning of 2019. It's something that I'm looking forward to. And then what I asked Ralph about is the corners on Ruggs. Like, I want to see what happens with that. And of course, Waller again is going to can be a big mismatch. I want to see what Todd Bowles has in the bag to try to neutralize him. But besides that, this is either going to be a shootout, like all the Raiders games. Whoever has the ball last wins. If the Bucs don't shoot themselves in the foot, obviously with penalties and turnovers, but it also could be a what we saw Sunday against Green Bay. Not necessarily 10-0 and they can't get a first down. Like, Aaron Rodgers got 51 yards. They had a total of 51 yards after they scored 10 points. 51. So, I'm not going to sit here and expect that. But, a 17-27, 17-31, 17-35 is definitely on the table more than a 10-7, 17-14 game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ren, I think you just brought up the thing that I'm looking forward to most in this game. I want to see how the Bucs do. Last week we went out. No penalties. Right? No turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Can we keep that up?
No.
Can we do that for 2 games in a row?
Absolutely.
No.
Now, here's the thing. I don't even mind a penalty. I don't even mind maybe a couple of penalties, but can we keep it to a manageable number?
What's your over-under?
All right.
What, like, realistically, what do I think they're going to do? Or, like,
Yeah,
what
what's
would
your
I be satisfied with?
Satisfied.
Satisfied? 3 penalties for 30 yards?
Wow.
3? So 3, you'd be okay?
3 for
Or
30, I think I might be all right.
For 30.
If it's 4, you're going to be mad?
He's going to be livid. 4. I can't believe it.
Come on, Ren. You know how this goes. It
Disappointed.
depends on how they get it. It depends on what's happening. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
like 4 penalties that,
4
are all
penalties
5
for
yards.
5 yards each?
Yeah.
Sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah, and they're all
Refs
on
are being super
defense.
ticky-tack. It's a horrible call. Fine, I'm not going to hold that against the Buccaneers. But if they go out and get 4 penalties in one drive and go backwards 35 yards, well, you know what? Yeah, I've got a problem with that.
Brent, that'll never happen. Come on.
Yeah.
Right. Never. Again.
Not with this team.
Never again. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But that's the biggest. I want to see it. Can they keep the momentum of that going? Just keep things into a good management. And honestly, no fumbles. And I got to tell you what I'm really excited about now is what Molly brought up. I want to see it. I want to see Derek Carr drop some freaking balls.
Yeah.
You know?
Whoa,
Make some fumbles
hang
and
on.
let's get
Right.
back.
Did you say that, Molly? Oh, we got to have a talk, man.
All right, guys. Well, we have reached the end of the show, and that means it is time for our predictive MVPs. Who do you guys think is going to be the MVP for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this game? Bucs versus the Raiders. Molly, let's go to you first.
All right. This is on the line of the fumbles. I'm going to say Devin White. I think
like it.
Devin White scoops up a fumble, maybe takes it back. We'll see. I think he's going to have a good game.
All right. Ralph, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with defense as well along the same lines, but I'm going to pick JPP. I think he's not going to be, Trent Brown's not going to be there. I think he's just going to eat up that left tackle. Get a couple fumbles. Yeah.
I think this is the return of Mike Evans. Their
long awaited.
Their defensive backfield is garbage, complete garbage. And I think Tom Brady, even though I'm going to put the ball where it needs to be, and I agree with that. But when he has a couple of options and one of them's Mike, I think he's going to look Mike's way a lot more this week. Mike's been great about not getting catches. He had 2 targets last week, 1 for 10 yards, he just missed him. We had a game where it was 2 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's had a 100-yard game. I think that was against the Chargers, and then we had like a 13-yard game or something like that. But he did have a lot of defensive pass interference penalties week 1 against the Saints. So he's mostly been not what we're used to seeing in Mike Evans, but with his defensive backfield being so bad, and if he gets time, which I expect he will because the Raiders don't blitz, they try to bring 4, and then they play, like a zone behind it. So, I look for Mike Evans to come up big this week and make his fantasy owners a little happy.
There you go.
There you go. That's me. I'm one of them.
Me too.
I've got all Buccaneers. I've got Tom Brady, Gronkowski, Bucs defense, the kicker.
What are you going to do come bye week, man? That's
forfeit.
lose, take an L.
I've been losing all year. It's a COVID year, so I'm like,
Yeah, it's hard to I don't even like to have 2 guys from the same team on my fantasy team. But when you got like 3 or more, well, defense and kicker is different. But if you got like the tight end, a running back, and a wide receiver, even if they score 30, like each guy has to get one of those touchdowns.
Yeah,
and that's just really, really hard.
Yeah. Well, we did it. We played a money league, and this year we've been playing it for a decade, and this year. Because of the COVID, we decided, it's not going to be any money involved. So I was like, cool, I'm going to show my fandom then. I'm straight Bucs.
picking up old Buccaneer players. I'm taking Adam Humphries. And
I think my predictive MVP for this particular week, and this may fall into that category more hope so rather than think so, but I think Shaq Barrett. Mostly because I think he's just due. And especially with this O-line being where it is, he's been so close on so many occasions. He's just not gotten home a lot this year. And it's time for him to break out. This is a season that he really needs to have a good repeat. No one says that he has to get the league-leading sack record again this year. But he does need to put some numbers up. And, whatever his next contract is going to be dependent upon that. But mostly... I think he's just ready. Like I think it's just time. Like at some point he's got to pop off, or at least you think he does. And what better week than this one to do it? So I say Shaq Barrett. Let's take a look over. What?
Real quick, I wanted to interject in there that Shaq Barrett they've been dropping him back in coverage about 20% of the time on pass plays. Mm-hmm. It's very strange, and I don't know if they're doing that to keep his numbers down because of the contract coming up or what, but it's been very strange.
We would
Jason
give you $20 million,
but
but
hey, Todd, is there any way you can help Shaq not get the league?
Can you suppress this guy? Yeah, just keep him down a little bit. Yeah, I love Shaq.
Just hold him back.
We would give you $20 million, but your pass coverage grade is terrible.
Hey, Todd, we're gonna have a head coaching spot come open here soon. I'm gonna back up that truck up in your yard. Let's go over to the chat room and see who they've got. We got Daniel coming in with MVP for Godwin. Let's see here. Robert says Shaq. Somebody else saying Shaq for me with this O-line. Winfield getting his first interception. Big Fudge, our friend Big Fudge says Rojo. Joey also says Rojo. Buck Squad Podcast says Rojo as well. Let's see here. JPP got one for there. And if I missed your alls, then apologize. Listener G Vegas says JPP as well. So
Rojo's a good pick. I like Rojo too.
Yeah, Rojo's a good pick. Brian says Tom Brady. You've been feeling Tom Brady's going to have a big game all week. It's always weird.
We didn't even give it to Tom Brady when he had a perfect QB score against the Chargers. We didn't even give it to him. We didn't even give him game MVP. Right. So it's
so funny how we have so many good players on our team that Tom Brady's just like kind of another guy. It's so weird.
But I mean, giving it to Tom Brady just feels wrong.
Yeah.
He's got enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
You got money.
Stop being greedy.
You got the wife. You live in
Lux.
Jeter's house. Like, you're gonna live forever. Like, just you got enough trophies. Everything's fine, Tom. You're gonna suck it up. Quit crying, big baby. There, we got you. AB happy.
Right. And Gronk. We got you both, you guys. All right.
And go shake Foles' hands.
Damn. Sure, you take Derek. That's what I want. I'm gonna add that to my what I want to see this year, this week. Is does he shake Derek Carr's hand? That's what I want to see. All right, guys, listen. That's gonna be it for our show this week.
Almost.
Again.
Almost. Okay.
Are you gonna talk about?
That mean go? I am gonna talk about the thing.
Hold on to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And Ralph and Molly, thank you guys. Tell us about Buccaneers Observer. Tell us about your YouTube. Just promote the heck out of your stuff that you guys have going on over there.
Do it, Molly. Do it. You have been so quiet. She's never this quiet, I want to tell you. I need you guys around all the time because she never.
Rude. Well, we are Ralph and Molly. We have the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. We can be found on any podcast platform, wherever you listen to them. We've got a YouTube channel. Search for us there. I don't know what the Buccaneers Observer. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We got a website. It's a little outdated, so Twitter's usually the best place to find us. Did I get all of it? I forget. There's so many of them. I can't keep track. Right? I think that's it.
Yeah, that's gotcha. And listen, guys, I will tell you to everybody out there listening, whether you're on the podcast feed later or you're listening to us live right now, if you guys haven't been listening to Buccaneers Observer, you guys have been around for a couple of years now. This is not your first go around. This is one that should be in your weekly rotation. And you guys should definitely be checking out everything that they're doing. So thank you guys. But Ren, you've got something brand new this week.
I do.
As you do the thing, before you do that, tell us about what you got going on. I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah. We've heard the word COVID a bunch of times during this podcast, but so it's hard to sort of connect with other Bucs fans. Like, we can't go to the stadium. You can't, see your friends. Some people aren't comfortable going to other people's houses because they might have kids or elderly people there, and a lot of people aren't comfortable going to the bars because, no matter what you think, and I think you should be able to get to go to the bars, but you have to take your mask off, and some people think that, that's dangerous. So a lot of us are watching the games by ourselves, or just with our good buddy, or just with a friend. And you don't get that connection anymore. So I found this app called Collide, COLLYDE, and it's on Android and it's on Apple. And it's basically a group chat. But instead of like having to invite everybody individually, they set up a room and everybody can come in. So we set up a room called, it's Pewtercast, Bucs Raiders. You just have to scroll and find it, and you join it. And once you join, you can even close the app. Like, you can join now, close the app, or just leave. And then when you come back to the app, just put at the bottom, it says the rooms you've joined. There's a button, you push it, and it pops up, and you never get kicked out. You're always in there. So if you want to if you're sitting there on the couch watching by yourself, you can stay and chat with me. Brent's going to come in there. I know there's 4 or 5 other Buc fans that you probably know if you're on Twitter are going to be there. And I'm just trying to make it a thing where we can all sort of just stay connected in these kind of times where, it might be just Ralph and Molly that are sitting on the couch and watching the game. Well, you know what? Jump in there. Like, you can yell about Gerald McCoy and Antonio Bryant all you want. And you might find some people that agree with you. Right. So the thing I like it about the best is once you join, like, you don't have to stay there. And it doesn't kick you out, and it's real easy to find. So that's what we're doing. And I just hope everyone comes in there and joins me, and we can watch this game and sort of, do a live. It's basically a live text stream. It's a live text, live chat room where all Buccaneer fans can, join. So if I don't know you on Twitter and you're listening to this and you live in San Diego, just go get the Collide app, download it, look for the Pewtercast Oakland Tampa Bay game, And we're going to be there, and a lot of us are going to be there. And so it's just kind of like, like you are at the sports bar or you are at the stadium. You just have conversations with everybody and talk about how the refs stink and how Brady, looking great. And this, there's no way Carr's going to even complete a pass against his defense. And is that his fourth fumble? And I can't believe Rojo ran for 220 yards. And Mike Evans, oh my God, Ren was right. That's his fourth touchdown. Like all that stuff is going to be going on. So, to finish,
Ren,
yeah,
you forgot to mention Chris's fifth touchdown. Chris Godwin's fifth touchdown.
Oh, okay. We're winning 90-0 apparently,
Yes.
And I guess we're getting a couple extra quarters to be able to make all those points. But yeah, so once again, it's Collide, COLLYDE. You can get it Apple or Android, and that's where I'll be. And I'm just hoping you guys come in and join me because I'm looking forward to reconnecting with fans, and at least, and I might not even say a lot. I just might read it, just wait for somebody to say something stupid and then jump in, because that's kind of my style. But
that's what Ren does best.
That's what I do best. I stay quiet till you say something stupid, and then I kill you for it.
I'm going to come in and say Gerald McCoy is the best player ever for the Buccaneers.
There you go. And you know what? You'll probably find some.
Get the party started that way.
Yeah, there you go, man. I'm expecting to see both of you guys in there, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And if it goes well, which I think it will, I think it's something I'm probably going to continue, throughout these years, because I can't go to any games, and I don't want to go out into a bar with a bunch of people I don't know who don't know anything about Buccaneers football and listen to them say stupid crap. Yeah. And I don't want to go to my friend's house and get his daughter sick. So, this is what I've come up with. This is my reason. But if you want any information on that app, or you just want to talk to me personally, I'm at Rendax, REN_DAXT on Twitter, the best place to find me. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, but if you don't want to put your take out there because it's too hot, or you just don't want to put it in the Twitterverse, please slide in my DMs, and we can talk about Buccaneers football there as well, too.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias, and the show is at the Pewtercast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, click the bell icon over at youtube.com/thepewtercast, or just go over there and bookmark thepewtercast.live. Everything we do is broadcast and archived over there as well.
Our website is not out of date.
It is not out of date. It's good. Guys, podpage.com. Go for it. But listen, that's going to do it for us for this week. You guys make sure you join us Sunday night, 000. The Pewtercast goes live. We'll be taking your phone calls. We'll bring you guys into the video chat. We'll talk about the Bucs versus the Raiders, and we'll talk about those 90 points that the Bucs just put up on the Raiders. So that's going to do it for us, guys. And until next time, go Tampa Bay Rays.
Go watch Damn, no. Shit, I messed it up. Go watch Ralph's video breakdown. Sorry, I totally ruined the outro. They're great. I know we're still alive. I know, but I ruined it. What are you gonna do?
Hey, thanks for having us on, guys. Man, we
go watch his video breakdowns.
Go Bucs.